Sometimes people try to find a reason to live and shit like that. You know what I mean, man? Kind of just like a passion and shit. Mine was when just right before COVID, I essentially quit my 9 to 5, not unintentionally though. Unintentionally though. So at the time I was doing some dishwashing and I'm not gonna say the town. I don't know if you put two and two together. You know what I mean? And COVID was right around the corner. I figured out this new app. First, I want to mention I was living with my ex girlfriend at the time. You know what I mean? We were together probably like a year and a half. We'd probably see each. She lived like maybe like an hour away, so we'd see each other probably like 3 times a week. Usually on the weekend, she would still stay over while I had like a girlfriend, shit like that. Or while I was still working, I had a girlfriend. What am I talking about? Anyways, I was working this dishwashing job. Didn't really pan out the way I really wanted it. Wasn't really my forte. As bad as it sounded, it was just like so much work, so much sweat. Super fast paced environment. Kind of made me a little bit anxious and shit like that. It didn't really help that I was partying quite a bit. Definitely partied like quite a bit after my shifts and stuff like that. So I stopped taking that job. You know what I mean? And then I found like an app called TikTok. I want to kind of mention how I found TikTok because I actually started doing TikTok super heavy, and that's gonna bring in kind of the story of me quitting my 9 to 5 to do some like social media. So, anyways, I ended up switching jobs, became a delivery driver and a dishwasher for this pizza place, right? Man, I'm gonna keep it a beam, man. I really did not like it, man. I was not feeling it whatsoever. But I still stuck with it for a little bit. Then all of a sudden, COVID came out of nowhere. Just boom. You know what I mean? COVID just came like a fucking missile. You know. So when COVID came, I was like, man, I ain't feeling this, bro. I ain't feeling this whatsoever, man. I'm good on it. You know what I mean? So there's this thing called Serb, whatever. I got a little bit of money from Serb and shit like that. I just had so much time on my hands where I was just like, you know what? Let me just try this TikTok thing out. Long story short, how I found TikTok. I know it keeps saying I was gonna say how I found TikTok. I'm not the best talking on camera yet, but how I found TikTok was through this friend that was my homegirl. We're just strictly friends. We're probably like close to best friends, dear best friends at that point. And I was like, you know what? She kept saying like, oh man, all these guys are just so dope, so hot and stuff like that. They're like, she like DMing them. I didn't really care because I had a girlfriend, but I was kind of like, man, like, just I don't know, social status and shit like that. And I'm like, knowing me, I'm like talking to my ex girlfriend at the time, my girlfriend then at the time. It's like, you know what? I kind of want to try TikTok because she was also scrolling on TikTok too. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this TikTok thing out. So I ended up just giving like 2 or 3 weeks. I ended up blowing up a TikTok account, getting millions of views. And this is during COVID. I'm talking like millions of views, bro. And I got one channel up to 800,000 followers. This is early TikTok, right? And I'm like, damn, man, I can't believe I blew up a TikTok account just like that. I watched the videos and learned how to do it and everything like that, but I was just like, damn, I really blew up my TikTok. So I was doing TikTok for a little bit, I actually got a decent amount of recognition in the area I was at just because I was really good at it. I kind of figured out the algorithm. I was kind of like turning on my autistic powers. I'm not even on the spectrum, by the way, but I just blew it up. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm a blow up another one. So I ended up blowing up another TikTok account. This one to, I believe, 400,000. No, I think it was 600,000. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. Then I ended up blowing up a third one, getting up to 400,000. So I had 3 TikTok accounts that were like all together up to 1 million. And this was like probably the first few months of COVID, right? And I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, I'm gonna take this way more seriously. You know what I mean? So I did that for like about a year, just building up social media account, started up on YouTube and shit like that. And then I was like, places were starting to slowly open up, and I was like, you know what, like, I am making like a little bit of money off it, a little bit of cash, you know, like some deals. I did like a beard deal. I was in some programs for like promotion for artists. Did some promotions for local people, so I was making like a little bit of dough there. Wouldn't say enough to live off of, you know what I mean? I ended up doing some other side hustles, if you know what I'm saying, on the side as well. But then I was kind of like, you know what, like, let me just do this full time, you know what I mean? I was like, fuck it, you know what I mean? And I don't really regret it, but I do definitely regret it. I definitely think the internal terror and freedom of walking away from stability is kind of good, you know what I mean? I definitely thought I had an identity crisis, you know what I mean? Definitely financial pressure, so it was a little bit hard on that end, but I had a few side hustles going at the same time. I definitely regret it though, but at the same time, it was good. It was a good growth experience. The question is, did I take advantage of that growth experience to be able to be more successful? I don't know if I honestly did. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I ended up losing 3 of those accounts. I ended up with 0. I ended up losing all of them. You know what I mean? Just by being greedy, bro. Just by being greedy, man. So that shit definitely took a toll on me. You know what I mean? I'll make another story on that for sure, because that's a kind of a crazy one for sure, man. But not everyone is able to really do that, you know what I mean? Really take a risk like that. It didn't help that I was partying a lot. My mind wasn't really there, but I do think it is important to kind of take the leap of faith, you know what I mean? And I really felt like I lived too. You know, like sometimes when I'm really locked in, feels like I'm just like not fully like I just feel like I'm wasting time. Like I'm just waiting day by day for the day to go by. You know what I mean? So I don't regret it in that sense, but financially, mentally, it definitely took a toll. But at the end of the day, I don't really regret it, man. But yeah, man, that's how I quit my 9 to 5 to find a reason to live. And what happened was pretty rough, man. But I learned so much from it, bro. So much, man. Oh God. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is just my little diary kind of thing. But just talking to the void, you know what I'm saying, man? I don't know. I love making these style videos, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, like this video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I don't expect to get any views whatsoever, man. You know what I mean? I don't really care. This is just like my little diary for me to look back on. I almost kind of hope I don't really blow up this channel, you know what I mean? And I can just kind of look back and just see where I was at certain spots of life. You know what I mean?